ADHD wired cooking.
Hello! Oh, wait. Hello, everybody! Welcome back to another episode of ADHD wired cooking. That is a plate of lasagna with a bunch of ground beef on top. This is actually going to be my lunch today. That's the episode. I'm kidding. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to add a little pasta sauce. I'm being lazy. It's just a little bit of jarred marinara. I'm going to put this on, and then I'm going to microwave this because I have the marathon in 3 days. This is my jar. Don't worry about me licking the rim. Sanitation freaks. But, yes, I am going to be running the marathon in 3 days, and I need to start carbo loading. So, what's the best source of carbs? Italian. So, Midnight, will you be quiet? Stop your whining. So, while I heat up my lunch, we're going to start making my carbs for the next 3 days. And then it's going to be pasta Fagioli, or as you spell it out, pasta e Fagioli. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. If Italians are going to probably decapitate me for butchering the pronunciation, but 3 boxes of ditalini. I have a can of tomato sauce, a can of diced tomatoes, a can of tomato paste, 3 cans of Great Northern beans, and then if I need extra sauce, a jar of puree. I have another one of these, but I don't think it needs that much, and I won't be able to seal it back once I open it. So I figured a jar of tomato puree is better because I can seal that back, put it in the fridge, use it later. So these are the baseline ingredients for the recipe, whatever you want to call it. And then we got a season and everything. So for the first part, everybody's favorite, can opening. I don't have an electric can opener, but I do have good grip strength. I do have muscles that I can flex my forearms with and open this can relatively easily. I did not want that to flip face down. Now my counter's dirty. But what else is new? The reason why I'm using Great Northern beans, I just like the way they taste. You can use really any kind of beans. Great Northern ones are my favorite. They're pretty high in protein. Let's see. It's 7 grams of protein. I believe black beans have more protein than that. Let me check. I have a can real quick. So, store brand black beans with no salt added. No, same amount of protein. It just had more fiber in it. But I am trying to constipate myself. Now, a lot of people are like, whoa, too much information. Well, guess what? If you're a runner, you get it. If you're not, tough noodles. Get it? Noodles? Knee slapper. Anyway, resuming on with the stupid menial task of opening cans. We have a massive pot of water, and then behind the cans there is a wok. I use a wok because it's just one of the bigger quote-unquote pans that I have, and I'm going to be using that to make the sauce. You got to get the sauce in the pan for the pasta! Well, my lasagna's done. So while that cools in the microwave, and I stopped the confounded beeping that microwave do, that high-pitched, irritating, psychologically driving insane beeping, I lost my train of thought. I don't know. But yeah, so it's all personal preference on what you use. You can use sauce or diced tomatoes. Pasta fagioli is really a soup, actually, styled recipe, but the way my mom learned from her mom, and they're both Italian, is they made it more like a pasta. And depending on how saucy you like it, depends on whether you use diced tomatoes or cans of tomato sauce. I figured it would be a good balance to use one on one. I usually like to use more diced tomatoes than a sauce because it adds more texture to it. I like the chunky tomatoes in the pasta and everything. I just like it that way. But that's me, you know. And with the Great Northern beans, you don't have to drain the juice. Wait, there's supposed to be a third can. Where's the third can? Is that it? Nope, that's the black beans. What? And flip. It's right here. Anyway. I got 2 cans. We got 3 cans of Great Northern beans. All fantastic sources of protein. And apparently fiber. You know the old saying, beans, they're good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you fart, the better you feel. Now you're ready for a whole new meal. I think that's how it goes. I don't know the exact phrase or saying. I just learned it from my neighbor like 15 plus years ago. And I found it hilarious. Like,
stuck it all in the other box.
Okay, Dad.
I need you to cut the tops off that box when you get a minute.
So well, I'm making a cooking video, so.
Yeah, when you get done, it's not an emergency. You want to wear the box to do it?
Okay. Let's see how good my balance is and my focus while I balance a box on my head. I don't know. So, no need to open this yet. The water's not boiling. So we're going to start making the sauce. Let me move the camera. Okay, so big wok, very big. You know, Johnny Appleseed style. We're basically just going to add these 2 right on in. Of course, you're going to have to add some water for the tomato sauce because you got to get every little bit of it that nooks and the crannies. Alrighty. So you add the water, rinse out the can, all good there. Get the tomato paste, get yourself a knife or a paste spatula that's small enough if you have one. And just scrape that into here. Now my mom taught me this recipe, I want to say maybe more than 10 years ago. And I've been making it since. And you know you've done good when they finally say, well, you actually make it better than me now. Because it's always the goal of the student to surpass the teacher. And if you never surpass your teacher, then you are quote unquote a failure as a student. If you want to be blunt and harsh about it. So now we're going to add, so some people don't like the juice of the Great Northern, of the beans and everything. They usually strain it. I don't. I keep the juice in there. I think it adds flavor to the overall sauce. And it makes it a little thinner. It's not a thick sauce. You don't really want the sauce to be overly thick. So that's why I add the, oopsie, I just made a mess. That's why I add the juice from the beans as well. There we go. Now let me clean up the counter because I just made a mess of that. Get bounty! Cleaned it all up in one wipe. That's not entirely true, but who's saying? Anyway, let me show you guys what we're working with here. I need to get a little bit more water for the sauce because we do want this a little bit on the thin side. I'm adding hot water because it'll just help speed up the heat up process of the sauce. I should get this actually going in terms of the heat. My burner's a little wonky, not wonky. But see what I did there? Punny. I'm so punny. Well, the camera's not facing you, so. What?
Coming out to get grapes.
Okay.
Hey, so leave me alone.
So basically, the sauce is pretty simple to assemble. You just have to add all the ingredients into your pot, give it a good stir, and then season it. And then pretty much from that point, you just gotta get it boiling, and then let it simmer down and cook some of the moisture out of it. So this way, it does thicken back up a little bit, but it still remains mostly thin.
Finish. Which are the new grapes? We're confused.
Let me see. Just that. There we go.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. So, now that we got all our canned ingredients done with and situated, we'll season the sauce. So what the sauce is looking like right now is just a big pot of tomato sauce. We'll show you after the seasoning. It'll look a lot more better. The water's starting to it's starting to boil, which is good. The timing is great. So add a decent amount of basil leaves. This one I'm going to season the way I like it because my dad doesn't eat this recipe. So, good amount of basil
No
leaves.
Tintolini for me.
A good amount of oregano. We do have parsley. Where is that? Here it is. Now, yes, I am using sun-dried. If you want the flavor to be more bold and rich, you want to use fresh of these three types of leaves. But I'm using the sun-dried just because I think they're just as good. It's basically dehydrated and then ground into flakes and all that. So now I'm going to add garlic powder. A lot of people like to add fresh garlic to this, but garlic powder I think is just as good. This is just basically the faster way of doing this style of dish. And it still comes out really good. Like my mom always insists that I use fresh garlic, fresh basil, all that stuff. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. I'm going to do it my way. And then when she eats it, she's still like, oh my God, it's so good. And she can't get over it. And I'm like, well, guess what? I didn't do any of the stuff you wanted, so it goes to show my method of cooking is still efficient and effective to make you love my dish. Alright, I'm looking for, if I had any of that like pre-minced garlic you could buy at the store, but it does not seem like I do, so that's fine. Usually you could add onion powder, but I don't think we have any that is good. Let me check around here. See if we got any. No, that's cumin. Paprika. Geez, Mom, what are you making? All Indian dishes? Rosemary. Paprika. What paprika? Nutmeg. I hate nutmeg. I think that stuff is gross. I think it's too rich taste. Like, it really... I think that's one of those things you need an accumulated taste for. Oh, this is basil too, huh? Interesting. Do we not have onion powder? Oh well, that's fine. So now what I need to do is black pepper. Add a good amount of that. We might need to season it a little bit more. I know it seems like I'm adding a lot, but I'm really not. Okay, and then where's the salt? Here's the salt. You don't want to put too much salt because you will be salting the pasta. But you want to put a nice sprinkle of salt in the sauce to help bring out the flavors of everything else. And then give that another stir. Where I put it in the sink. So I'm going to need a new spatula. I did not think that through. But yeah, what we have now is a sauce that's finally coming together. We got the garlic powder, the basil, the parsley, the oregano. Give that a good stir, and then bring it to a rolling boil. And then you just basically cover it, let it cook while the noodles cook, and then you just add it all together. And it'll be really, really good. So let me get this all situated. I think I'm about to add the pasta to the water. Oh, by the way, to clean your spatulas, you don't have to wipe it with paper towels or anything. Just put the spatula under water. It just flavors the pasta basically, in my opinion. So let me add some salt to the water for the pasta. There. And then what I will do is I'll get the 3 boxes of it on me. I did not want that to fall, but it did. Add that to the water. This is 3 pounds of pasta. The intention is to make a whole lot. 3. That's why we're using massive pots. So now you want to stir this kind of a little bit occasionally at the beginning, because you don't want your pasta noodles to stick together. So for like the first couple of minutes, you want to just stay here mixing it every now and then. Fall back onto this, give this a good mixing. Looks really good. I might add some more parsley, basil, and oregano. I think it needs a little bit more. Oh, that's right. So with a dish like this, a big thing to flavor it with is extra virgin olive oil. A lot of Italians would tell you you always put oil in your sauce, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a good splash of olive oil. Cover that back up. Give this a nice mix. The oil is going to give this a really rich and bold flavor. And do forgive the camera wobbling around. I am mixing and using one hand at the same time, so I'm not exactly my greatest cameraman. But yeah, we're going to let this cook now. Mix everything good and together, and then when the noodles are done, we will put the two together and make a huge batch of pasta fagioli, and it's going to look absolutely amazing. So let's give that time, let's let that cook, and you guys will see this shortly. Okay, so the pasta is officially done. I like cooking it where it's really spongy, so I quote unquote overcook it. So this is what it basically looks like. I don't know how well you can see that, but pretty much it's really, really spongy. Almost to a point where it disintegrates. Now, after that taste test, I realized it needs more salt. So before you drain your water of your pasta, even when it's done cooking, you can still season it before it's too late to add extra flavor. So I'm going to give this another sprinkle of salt. I'm going to mix it with the water still in there. Now a lot of the pasta water is cooked into the pasta, so you guys saw what it was like before, right? Well, this is what it looks like now. So let me manipulate this. This is what it looks like now. It's pretty much over half the water is gone now. So yeah, that shows how much the pasta absorbed. And I just spilled the salt. Well, there you get that bad luck. So hold up before I get cursed. There. Well, if you believe in superstitions, I really don't. But hey, what the harm, right? There's no harm in it. So you have a strainer, but before you strain your pasta, you want to save some of the pasta water, because you're going to want to put this pasta water I don't know why, but I always add a nice amount of it to the sauce because it gives it a lot of nice flavor. Now don't worry about scooping up a lot of pasta with it. That's fine. I'm going to get 2 cups just in case because I don't know how much of the sauce I cooked away. So get a lot of that pasta water, that starchy pasta water. It gives it, you can add this to the sauce. It'll give it a really nice additional flavor. Now I'm going to pour this right into my strainer. Now I can't pour all of it because I have way too much pasta to water here, which is fine. There is some leftover water there, which is also, again, fine. Now before this starts thickening, this is where you kind of have to race against the clock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this up. I know it's a little awkward looking like this, but I have to move quickly because I don't want the pasta to stick. And what did I just do? I don't know. Anyway, so now that our pasta, actually, you know what? I'm going to very quickly do this. Sorry, Jackson Klinger texted me about plans for the marathon on them riding the bikes and recording me for while I run. So now you have your pasta, you have your sauce. Now the nice part, hold on actually, because I want to get this angled good. So one sec. Okay, so you might want to back up a little bit in case there's a splash zone, but I got my mom on the camera now, so now the best part of all of this is just adding the beans and the sauce right on top. I'll throw this in the sink very quick. Let that run under water. Get your spatula and start mixing everything together. This is where everything becomes one delicious Italian dish. Now it does, like I said, this is a recipe that's supposed to be more soup, but you can make it like a pasta. But adding all the additional sauce and liquids, it starts off as a soup, but as it sits and marinates basically, all that sauce gets soaked into the pasta. That gets even spongier and more rich and flavorful, and then it becomes like a pasta versus a soup. So now I'm going to add this starchy pasta water to give it that additional flavor. And this is pretty much pasta fagioli or fagioli based on how you spell it. Never hurts to have too much starch water. It always adds nice richness. And that is a massive batch for, I'd say, at least 20 people. But if you're like me, you can eat for 5 in one setting. And then all you have to do is add a little Parmesan, a little ricotta if you like. And that's pretty much all she wrote.